Absolutely. Hi, my name's Will G, and I'm an addict. All right, can you hear me? Hello, hello. All right, that's what I heard. Listen in the back. Sit closer. First off, I want to say thank you. I didn't know if it was an honor or if they were talking shit about me when they said, hey, we would like you to speak at Clean But Crazy. And I'm like, I guess they think I'm crazy. And then I paused for a minute and said, well, I guess if you spot it, you got it. So thanks for picking us. So we are all of but the same nature. So I thought long and hard when I was nominated for this what I should speak about and what Clean But Crazy would mean to me. And the craziest experience that I can think about that comes to mind is when I was a newcomer in early recovery. Because to me, that was probably the craziest experience I've had clean. You know, when you first come in, all you have is the desire to stop using. You didn't realize that you had character defects or things that you would want to work on, or that you had to be honest, or that somebody says that you need to be restored to sanity. So I remember when I first got here, I was nervous my first day. I spoke to my mother. She was the first person I contacted when I realized I had a problem, or was at least willing to admit it. She's an addict in a fellowship as well. She celebrates 38 years this year, and I knew she would be the right place to turn. When I called her, I thought she was going to be like, listen, I can't believe you're in active addiction. I've been in a 12-step fellowship. Why haven't you asked me sooner? It was nothing like that. I think all my worries and my expectation went out the window. The moment when I said, Mom, I think I have a problem, and it was just a sigh of relief. It was just a, honey, I've known all along. You used to come to Christmas high as a kite, and I just tried to pretend. And you think I give you Publix gift cards for a reason? Like, well, I was like, Mom, I would have sold those too if I had to, but I used them for Publix, I swear. But she said, listen, I was in the hospital. I had pancreatitis. I used to the point where I wanted to die. I didn't think I was worthy of being a good father, worthy of being a good addict. That's all I was good at. It was an active addict. So I thought, if this is what was going to take me out, it's not going to hurt anybody. My daughter's going to, lose a deadbeat father. And when I was hospitalized, I got a call from my daughter's guidance counselor saying she couldn't do any work today because all she could do was cry. She said that you're in the hospital because you drank too much wine. Wrong. But that's great. I'm glad it got to that point. I was so high on my drug of choice that I didn't eat, and because I didn't have anything else in my stomach, it swelled my pancreas double the size. But my daughter called me directly after the guidance counselor and said, Daddy, I don't want you to die. And it's crazy that I thought that me removing myself from the situation was going to make it better. When now, after 3 years, celebrating 3 years just recently, last week, thank you so much. That breeze is a gift right there. Thank you. Holy hell. But, in my 3 years, I realized that taking myself out of the equation would have done nothing. I think what I'm doing today and continuing forward has helped them grow and see. And one of my daughters even asked to go to a meeting at one point. She's 6 and she has an addiction to candy. She's working through it and she's looking for a sponsor. She's looking for a sponsor if anybody's willing. You can pick her up at school after 2:30 for everybody. So in early recovery, I came in, I was crazy. I went to my first meeting ever. My mom set me up, gave me a place to go, and I followed through, and all the way up until the moment I got to the door, I went to pull it, and it was a push. And my disease even then said, like, this is your last chance. No one will know that you didn't go. And I couldn't live this way anymore, so I said, thank you for sharing, and I walked right in. I'm sure I didn't say that because I didn't even know what sharing was. But then I walked in, and somebody said, is there anybody here for their first meeting ever? I raised my hand, and then I became the speaker of that meeting immediately, explaining how bad I ruined everything. I'm losing my kids, I'm losing my home, I'm going through a divorce, I couldn't hold anything together. And they were like, fuck, that's mild, come join the club. And then I couldn't believe the stories that they told that night because of what I said. And my mother said something before I walked in the door, and it meant something to me. She said, if you don't listen, because you might just hear your story back at you. And that night I proceeded to hear my story and the outcome that I wanted at the time back at me. I got my family back. I got remarried. I got everything. I got the car. I was like, that's where I want to be. So the attraction was there immediately. I thought I was embarrassed. I was crying when I announced that. And somebody beelined themselves straight to me. And I'll never forget him. I owe my life to him. And he said, so where are you going tomorrow? And I said, I don't know. He says, well, we recommend you do a meeting a day for 90 days. I said, ooh, that sounds like a hefty order. He's like, just do a meeting a day and we'll figure it out from there. So where are you going tomorrow? I said, well, listen, I was thinking about going to church. And he's like, church is for clean people. He's like, listen, come join the winning team. And he's like, well, if you're not going to make it, I don't think you're going to make it in this program, and I hope you live a good life. And that hit my ego, because we have that when we first get into this program. We don't know shit about spiritual principles. So I said, what meeting are you going to tomorrow? He said, well, there's this nice beach meeting at 7. I said, well, I'll see you there. I pull up to this beach meeting, and you have to pay for parking, and there's my excuse out. So I start walking back towards the car, and somebody who's a membership or a fellow member of the fellowship walked past me and said, where are you going? The meeting's this way. I said, oh man, I don't have the $1 to put in the car, and I don't need to get a ticket. I can't afford it. I ruined my life. You didn't hear me at my first meeting where I shared everything? And they said, no, I'll pay for it. Just go take a picture of your tag and come back. So I went, I took a picture, I sat down, I saw this person again. And during my second meeting, I heard the Serenity Prayer multiple times, and that was the moment I decided I wasn't like you guys. I said, well, you guys said this God thing a lot, and I don't do that. And he goes, whoa, slow down. You've already skipped steps. He goes, he's like, I understand. He said, I didn't say God. We talk about our higher power. A power greater than ourselves. And I didn't understand what that meant. But as this meeting ended, we were on the beach in an orange blood moon. It pops up on my memories all the time. I'll never forget it. This is my second day clean. And this moon comes up, and it's beautiful, and we say the Serenity Prayer, we close, and that's when I say to the guy who spoke to me, I said, listen, I don't think this is going to work for me. You guys say God a lot, and I just don't believe in God. And he says, listen, you see that moon up there? I said, yeah, it's beautiful. He says, I want to thank you for putting it up there. And I pause for a second and I go, what the hell are you talking about? He goes, you put that moon up there, right? And I'm like, do you guys get high here still? I don't understand how this works. And he goes, well, that's a power greater than yourself. If you need to believe in that during this time, then that's what we'll believe in. And that worked for me for as long as it took for me to build the God of my understanding. But in recovery, at 6 months, I wanted to be the best sponsee ever. So I read my readings for 30 days, as I was told, and I was told I get to answer the questions directly after. I said, okay. So on that 30th day was my 6 months clean. I spent 3 hours writing questions thinking I was going to be on step 2 by the end of the night. I see my sponsor at a meeting. I go to hand it to him like a piece of paper, and he goes, oh, no, we don't do it here. I wanted to be done with the steps so bad, but he goes, no, we're going to have a nice place of meeting. We'll meet at my house. We'll have more of an intimate setting. I'm not doing it in the middle of a fucking meeting. Excuse my language. But, and that night I realized one of my main character defects and it still roots to this day, but is perfectionism. I wanted it the way that I wanted it right then and there. It wasn't my way, so I almost denied NA the right to give my kids a father. I almost denied NA the right to give my father a son. And luckily I didn't. He told me, keep coming back. And then, inside of my relationship, or I had separated during that time, and I had found some proof of that she had been lying the whole time, and now I get to throw it in this woman's face, and now I got to learn how to play the tape through, because I called my sponsor like they tell us to do. And I said, listen, Bill, you're going to have me skip some steps on this one, man. I'm telling you, I found the truth, and I get to throw it in her face. He goes, okay. Are your kids home? I said, yeah, hell yeah, they are. Where else are they supposed to be? It's 10 a.m. or it's 10 p.m. Are your kids home? You know where your kids are? And he goes, okay, so you can go inside right now. This is insanity at its finest. You can go inside right now and show the proof. She could throw a fucking TV at you. Your kids can go into the closet and they can cry and they can scream and beg mommy to stop while you show that you're right. Do you need me to tell you that you're right? You are right. But is that what you're looking for? Because you're not realizing what's about to happen. And he goes, yeah, I'll see you at the meeting later. And I was like, yes, you will. Because I belong here. And that's the insanity piece, right? So for me, I didn't believe in God. And I found my higher power, and I did find a God of my understanding later on through working the steps and working the third. But a power greater than myself was NA, because when I would go to a meeting, completely insane, for some reason, I would share how I felt. We have this section during meetings called Burning Desires. If you want to use, hurt yourself or hurt somebody else, we don't want you to take it home with you because it could be the death of you. There's people that go through one. The crazy part is, if you want to talk about clean but crazy, the crazy part is some of us still believe we have one more run in us. Y'all don't want to talk about it, but the truth of the matter is some of y'all believe that shit wholeheartedly. And some of you believe that you don't have another recovery in you either. And I'm here to tell you it's easier to stay. I stayed this whole time. I never wanted to turn my back. So for the first 90 days, I had wrote in a book. It is falling apart. I kept all my chips and key tags and everything that I had. I mean, there's papers falling apart. There's literally an invoice for my job. But every meeting I wanted to write at every meeting to prove that I was here. And originally it was just to prove to my ex that I actually can fucking get clean. Because she said no matter what, you'll always be a fucking junkie. And you'll never amount to shit. So I said, okay, well, not a problem. So I did 111 meetings in 90 days because, of course, I had to prove somebody wrong. Resentments, we ain't worked a damn step in my fucking life yet. And as I grew, after the 90 days, I have another book that I call The Golden Ticket. This is Willy Wonka right here. So I continued to write. And now it wasn't because I wanted somebody to see me. It's because I wanted to feel again. But the good kind, not the bad kind. The ones that we ran from, because doing the work always helped. And a fellow addict told me once that this is called the group conscience. That every meeting that it is a collective spirit of Narcotics Anonymous. Because in the beginning I just wrote what I thought related to me. Then I realized there is not so many differences. That I relate to everything you guys said. So as you start to read these books further and further, and my handwriting improved. I mean, who knew? So, all my life I was afraid to write things. Now I'm in the back of the room, writing at every meeting. Now I'm at the front of the room, writing at every meeting. Excited to go to my first convention. If you've never been to a convention, what a convention is an area, or whether it be all of NA as a whole, hosts a gathering for all addicts are welcome to celebrate life. And I'll tell you, when I witnessed my first clean time countdown, I cried terribly. Most men won't admit that. I did. It was so beautiful, and I said I just couldn't believe how many addicts just wanted to be alive today. Because all I wanted to do in active addiction was die. And I'm watching everybody celebrate, and we're talking about the nastiest we've ever done, and It's amazing. And when you hear that relatable story, and it's funny because people like joking with war stories and one up, and you know what? Whatever keeps you here, you know. I found a God of my understanding through meetings and through asking questions, staying curious. What worked for you? My favorite meetings that I go to are Steps and Tradition series and Step series, because for some reason, every time I see your perspective on how you work the step, it just hits different for me. It makes me realize maybe this personal program works in a special way for this person, and it works differently for everybody else, you know? But we all unite in the factor that we believe together that we can all stay clean. And people would say that's the craziest fucking thing you've ever heard. No, you know what the craziest thing you ever heard is? I've been sitting on the 6th step for a year. That's the craziest thing. For those who know, they know. All right? Oh, I stepped on some toes. I'm so sorry. But listen, and my truth is, I'm going to get real honest. I filled the void with, you know, Todd and I got clean together. We spend a lot of time out celebrating life at, you know, events, concerts. You know, when we get clean, we didn't get clean to die, we got clean to live. So I threw myself into service because there was this black hole inside of me. So then I became a part of activities at one point, and I was the orientation chair for H&I for a year, and I followed through on my commitment. And I was so proud of myself, but I realized that I started focusing on business because I'm a businessman, and I didn't realize that personal recovery does rely on NA unity, but it is my personal program that I have neglected this entire time. And no matter how much people said thank you for your service, it never filled that void, right? And now that I've been sitting on the 6th step and I see all my glaring defects, and as I notice that my perfectionism wants the flowers to sit in a certain way, or that I can be impatient when my child's asking questions because she just doesn't know and I'm just trying to figure it out too, you know? And we're figuring it out together. I figured out how to be a parent here. I didn't know. I became a single father immediately. As soon as I got clean, that was another thing that was attached to me. And in the beginning, I was doing it out of spite too. And I learned how to become a father in NA. And it's because I've become patient with you guys. And sometimes they do drive me crazy. And I am clean, but crazy when they drive me that. But it's just, they wouldn't want it any other way. They'd rather me be clean and crazy than dirty and crazy. I'll tell you that. And I followed through. I stayed impeccable with my word. My baby mama was in active addiction, and when they're talking, they interrupted the shit out of me. Calm down. Just kidding. I don't know. I lost my train of thought. When it came time, when she got her life together, I said that I would give her the option. I would give the kids the option to go with their mother or stay with me. I did not pressure them. I did not say anything. I just wanted them to be happy and what was best for them. And I thought because the other one is bright and shiny and new, they would be quick to jump on, because, I mean, that's what most of us addicts do. The moment we see something bright, shiny, and new, we jump straight to it. And I thought that they would do that. But instead, the kids decided to stay with me. And when they made that decision, I knew I owed NA all of that. There's no doubt about it, because the person that I was and the person that I am has been so far separated. And I continue to grow, and I continue to do the work, and I continue to try to bring spiritual principles into everything. I couldn't figure out what shirt I wanted to wear today. I really wanted to wear the world shirt, because that was when my program came alive. Again, I needed that. Like, sometimes you have those meetings that you need, and I needed that. I needed to see that guy with ASL stand up there and show us that anyone can recover. It doesn't matter what your disability is. It doesn't matter what you used, how much you used, how little you have, how much you have. Everyone is welcome here. And that is an amazing thing. This universal program has their doors open for everybody who seeks recovery. Only requirement for membership is the desire to stop using. And, you know, it's been a great experience, but I chose the shirt that I'm wearing today is because it's my area. But I do think that spiritual principles is the key to the success of living a fruitful life. I think being serene and being peaceful are two different things. I think being serene is unconditional peace, which means I didn't have to sacrifice a part of my soul to gain it. The only thing I had to do was get rid of the bad parts of me. And it's never gone. And I have to tell my kids all the time, the warrior is still there. The monster still sets and it arrests. That's why I have to go to meetings and I have to keep it arrested. This is a daily reprieve. I have just for today. So what I'm going to do to finish that, so when I went to World, I had my book with me. I continued to write, still haven't stopped. But on this keychain, there was every key tag that I ever collected. It had like the Serenity Prayer, it had the Third Step Prayer on here. And as I was loading it up in World, all of them snapped. All of it snapped off. But it was crazy because only one stayed. And it was the Just for Today. And I just thought for one moment that no matter if I'm about to celebrate 3 years at the time, and now have celebrated 3 years, I still only have Just for Today. And Just for Today, you guys gave me this wonderful event. Thank you to Gold Coast Activities. They are in dire need of service. And of trust and servants. And if you come across a post on Facebook and you just don't have the time or the willingness to become a participant of activities, please just hit share. You're on Facebook anyways. I mean, please, it helps everyone because we want to have events like this that can be exciting and have the recognition that we deserve amazing things. And thank you guys for letting me share, and thank you for letting me be a part of this. Mike?